Guys, got an instant book review for The Little Book of Common Sense Investing. The Only Way to Guarantee Your Fair Share of Stock Market Returns by John C. Bogle, the founder and former chairman of the Vanguard Group. This man pretty much invented index funds, and that this whole book is about index funds and why making your portfolio an index fund that tracks the whole stock market is the safest way to make sure that you're going to have the average returns of the stock market and really end up beating out people that are trying to beat the market by picking individual stocks and individual funds. And if you follow the advice from this book, you are going to put yourself in a position where you know that over the long haul, you're going to have a portfolio that sees appropriate growth and doesn't get limited by trying to do things that are too cute. This book, it removes all of the shiny, cool, fun, exciting ways that people think of trying to make money from investments and strips it down to just being the most boring, simple, passive way to invest your money that actually produces the most consistent returns over the long haul, which is just owning an index fund that encompasses the stock market so that you're not worried about picking individual stocks, knowing when to pick the stocks, picking specific funds, knowing when to pick those funds, riding certain trends. But by owning the entire stock market, you are guaranteeing yourself, with the exception of corporate America literally ceasing to exist, you're guaranteeing yourself the stock market average returns for as long as you hold. And so by doing that, there's a few benefits that he goes into. The first is that index funds have incredibly low fees, and fees, he says, if you have to pay fees out of your portfolio, whether it's to your brokerage manager or because you're making lots of trades, buying and selling frequently, those fees are money that's coming out of your portfolio. And now that that money is being taken from you, that money isn't in your portfolio anymore, obviously, which means that it now is with someone else, and you just lost that money that could continue to grow for you. Whereas if you don't have to pay fees or you have very low fees, most of that money stays in your portfolio and continues to grow and compound and ultimately provide you with larger growth and profits over time. So index funds are great because they have incredibly low fees. And then he says, don't look for the needle, just buy the haystack. Don't worry about trying to pick certain funds, certain stocks, knowing when to do it, when to buy, when to sell. If you just buy the haystack, the whole stock market, you're guaranteeing yourself the average returns of the stock market for as long as you hold it. And one big reason to do it that way is because he's huge on reversion to the mean, which pretty much is the idea that the past doesn't determine the future and that over the course of time, averages are going to play out. And unfortunately, it's human nature, and people typically make the mistake of trying to jump on trends when it's too late. Like, you see something that gets hot, you see something that is being really successful or doing really well, and that's when then people decide to jump on it and maybe buy the stock or buy the fund. But at that point, all of the main growth has already happened. So all that's left to do most of the time is for that stock or fund or whatever to revert to the mean. And instead of going like this forever, because that's not going to happen, it's going to end up going like this, and over the course of time, averaging out. So when you just buy an index fund that encompasses the entire market, you're eliminating having to worry about when to buy up or down or whatever. You're just encompassing the entire market, and you're guaranteeing yourself the average returns of the market for as long as you hold. So ultimately, by limiting your fees and simply buying the haystack and not needing to time the market, if you just buy an index fund, you can maximize those three things for yourself and your portfolio and guarantee yourself the best opportunity to have consistent returns over the long haul. And ultimately, he says this strategy isn't necessarily guaranteeing the number one all-time best ROI for any portfolio, but he says it is better than an infinite amount of other investment strategies. So this book's really cool. If you guys have read it, I'd love to hear what you think. Please hit me in the comments, something you liked, didn't like, something that stood out, something you might have agreed or disagreed with about what he says specifically. Otherwise, please bang subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.